Yeah. Yep.
Hey, welcome to our class. We're doing a buyer consult with Lee Rogenkamp. So we're going to walk you through the process that we take our prospective clients through before they hire us to work with us to find a home.
Do you know, are you an agent or a buyer?
I'm
Both.
both. I'm going to be an agent and a buyer during this. So I'm going to be the buyer as we're going through it, and then also we'll just fill in as we go.
Do you know why you should have a buyer consult before before you show anybody any properties?
No.
A, it's the law. B,
The law?
yeah,
Okay.
it's state law, Minnesota and North Dakota state law. You have to go over agency and other things. So agency is the biggest one. That's why I have this sheet on the top. I've got my buyer packet that has everything that I need to get paid in here from Keller Williams, and it also has behind us here you can see the PowerPoint of a good lead-in to ask for the sale, ask for the contract. So nice work on sitting down with me today. Thanks. Do you know what your okay, I'll back up. The three main reasons why I'm here with you today as a buyer is, do you know what they are?
No, I don't.
It's to make sure you have fun through the process and be your Tylenol and reduce headache through the process.
Okay.
Because there's 400 million things that could go wrong, and I'm here with my 11 years experience to make sure that none of those get to be big problems. They're just little tiny things that, as long as I over communicate with you, we can get through them really easy. It's way easier as a buyer to get past them.
Okay.
So A, have fun, and B, be a master at the process. B is, I'm here for you so that you don't pay too much as a buyer.
Okay.
And C is so you don't buy a piece of junk. So price and condition, and help you with your emotions through, as a buyer, your emotions through the buying process.
Okay.
So you don't have to sign anything right now, Mr. Buyer. I am going to go through the paperwork that the state makes me go through with you. By the way, at the end of this meeting, I'm going to ask you if you'll hire me. The state makes me ask you that if you'll hire me.
Okay.
So you don't have to sign anything now, but here is our buyer paperwork. I like to call it be nice forms, why I have to be nice to you. As a licensee, I'm held to a higher standard. So just like when I go through any of the vendors that we use, insurance, lender, closing company, they all have licenses to lose. If someone messes up, like me, if I messed up, I would have to my peers would judge me. If I said something intentionally wrong and we got in front of a judge or our peers on a panel, they could take my license from me. So that's why I have to do it the right way and go through all of this.
Okay.
So this is a buyer loyalty agreement, or sorry, this one's the agency relationship agreement. And there's four major types of agency: buyer's agent, seller's agent, dual agent, and facilitator are the four major ones. There's a couple other ones that I've never used, but as you can see, I circled buyer's broker right here. So I work for you, and anything throughout this whole process, when I fill out a form or when I do anything, it has to be to your best interest, because when you hire me, I have fiduciary duties to you that I have to uphold.
Okay. Do you want me to initial that, or?
Thanks. I won't have you sign it until afterwards, until you're comfortable.
Okay. So this is the disclosure form, is
Yep.
what this is.
Yep.
Two-page disclosure form. Got it.
Yep. Discloses who represents who. I represent you as the buyer, not
Okay.
the seller. Even if we do find a property that's within my company or within my team, so if Jamie or Caitlin has a listing, I can still represent you as the buyer. Then it's called dual agency at that time, but there's still three main things that can't pass between me, our side, since I'm on your side, and the other side, because they have fiduciary duties to get them the best deal as a seller.
Mm-hmm.
Price, terms, and motivation are the three things that I can't pass. So if you said, Lee, I want that listing that you have, and I want to make an offer on it, I know it's listed at $250, we want to offer $225, but we'll go to $250 if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell them that, because that would detriment you getting a better deal.
Okay.
What I owe you as your realtor are loyalty, obedience, disclosure, confidentiality, reasonable care, accounting, and diligence. Those are called fiduciary duties.
Okay.
My mother-in-law tried putting those on my marriage contract when I married her daughter.
You said them. You said the last two in the wrong order, just so you know.
I was looking at you when I said it because
I
I
know.
didn't memorize. So this is the exclusive right to represent by agreement. So this is the loyalty agreement that it gets the lazy realtors off their butts because they have a license to uphold. If a house comes on the market and it's perfect for you and you've already hired me and I didn't show it, or if I did something wrong or said something wrong, this contract would get me in trouble in front of a judge. So this holds me loyal to you and it holds you loyal to me.
Okay.
So now
It's the exclusive right to represent buyer contract. Is that what that's called?
correct. Yep.
Buyer agreement.
Mhm.
Okay.
You, as a realtor, you're welcome to say this if you want to. You don't have to, but if someone's nervous, and you can say here under other termination, line 83, this exclusive right to represent by agreement may be terminated by either party with the written mutual consent of either parties. I was looking at you when I said that. I think I said it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Get used to it. Do it. It's just practice, and it gets so much easier when you're in a tight spot. So that just says it. I've never been fired, but if you ever found out that you had, a friend or relative in the business, you're welcome to just call me and say, Lee, sorry, we're going to work with someone else.
Okay.
So that just lightens the load a little bit. If you want to be really bold, don't say that at all, and then they'll never lean back on that. This is just the signature page of line.
And you say it every time, and you've never had anybody fired. You said so.
By the time we get to here, I've already built a bunch of rapport, and I should have maybe did a little bit of that for the listeners, but in the beginning, I'll sit back and unless they're like, you can tell if they're in a big hurry, but I'll ask them, what kind of a timeline do we have? I have 3 showings set up for us afterwards at 2:15.
Yep.
It's 1 o'clock right now, and so I'll build some rapport ahead of time, but yeah, I forget where I was going. But yeah, that's you have to go through all these.
Okay.
Depends on how much time they have, and by this time, a lot of times I don't even have to say that because they're already chomping at the bit to sign and get going.
Yep.
Because I've already built enough rapport. That's where I
Right.
was going. Buyer disclosure information. This is just in disclosure of places online that you can find things like if there's sex offenders in the area of the house you're buying, or if it's an investor I'm working with. If you want to look at what sex offenders in that area of that rental, in case you don't want to buy it because there's of your tenants don't want to live in that area.
Sure.
That's fine. Water intrusion, radon, floodplain, homeowners insurance for property information. So that's another thing I'm here to protect you from is if there's a house that's in the floodplain, you can tell me I absolutely don't want to have a house in the floodplain, and then I'll weed them out of the MLS that I send you. But if it is, then I can do more homework on it, because a lot of times it's just the buyers lean on you for what kind of how big of a deal they're going to make out of most everything, whether it be the inspection or the issue on the appraisal or on anything. So if you don't make a big deal out of if someone is already grandfathered into flood insurance, and the flood insurance is only $470 a year on that, it's how you present it to them, and be 100% honest and never ever fudge anything. But you have to tell them, because if you say, "Oh, sorry, it's in the floodplain, I wouldn't look at that one," what do you think? How do you think they're going to react? Same
They're
with
not going to want to look at it.
Yep. Same with negotiating. Same with, and this is why you want to have a buyer consult, so that you have the rapport built, so that you can ask the tough questions and you can say the tough statements that need to be said during the process. So if there's in negotiation, if they want to offer $15,000 less than they're asking, and then it's how you set it up. If the house is priced right and you know that in your heart, and they're protected by a home inspection and a appraisal anyway, so they can't pay too much if they have a loan. So then, I know in my heart that I'm getting them a good deal. So once they make an offer, and if it's a little ridiculous, or if you feel that the house is priced right at full price, I say that the house is likely going to go for what they're asking because it's priced right. And the nice thing is you're protected by an appraisal, and so that's fine. I work for you. I'll put down anything on paper that you want me to. I'll write that offer, and I won't show our cards. I'll do my best to get you the discount. I promise I won't let you pay too much. It's my job to find all of the motivation in the sellers and get you a great deal. And you know, they likely will come back with a counter offer. If I was that selling agent, you know, I know that's priced right already, so I would advise my sellers not to come down in price. But I work for you, so I'm going to get you the best deal possible. So, you know, here's what they will likely come back at. They likely, it's the first day on the market, it's priced right. They'll likely come back and say, sorry, you know, we feel that it's worth what they're asking. So that's a way so that when the other side comes back with a full price counter offer, they're not upset.
Okay.
They can be upset if they want, but then you can say I told you so. If there's multiple offers on the table, since it's priced right and it's the first day on the market, if there's multiple offers, I'm trained to win. If we walk out of a house and you say, Lee, this is the house for me, I'm trained to get it. There's different contingencies you can pull. There's different mud in the water that you can make a cleaner offer. So there's things that we can do. There's escalation clause, you know, things like that. Don't worry about it. You know, you don't need to know much about it. I can guide you through that once you hire me.
Okay.
Once you hire me. After you hire me. The seller pays my commission of 3%. The ladies out front, Keller Williams, they do the extra work and make sure that all my files are clean, compliant, and they have to save the paperwork for 7 years. They buy errors and omissions insurance for us if I make a mistake. They go through all the paperwork. So the Keller Williams gets $495 fee, and I can normally get that paid for out of your closing costs. And normally I can get closing costs paid for by the seller too. If you were paying cash, then yes, you'd feel that $495. Otherwise, 90% of the time I get it paid for by the seller.
Okay. Fair enough.
There's just an explanation of that. I owe you a final walkthrough before closing is what I put on this one. So this just says, go ahead.
Buyer walkthrough acceptance form.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So let's say, Mr. Buyer, we walk out of the property and you say, Lee, this is the one, don't lose it for me. I'll go through and ask you the 5 things that we'll go over in a little bit here that I need to start negotiating for you. And I'll help you through the process of when we can close is number 5, what the closing date is. And I'll help you on that. So since you are conventional, we only need between, you know, Regency Title and Rubicon Mortgage, you only really need about 30 days for conventional mortgage. Just to be safe and make the lender happy, I might put 40 days, but I'll put on or before on the 40 days.
Okay.
And by then, so then 40 days from today is, what's the day of the month today?
19th, I think.
So the 29th of October would be 40 days from right now. So on October 29th, does that all sound good so far, Mr. Buyer? Something in that area?
Sure.
So
Yep.
then you could put your notice in to get out of your apartment now, and you'd have a 30-day notice. You know, if you need 60, I can work with that also, no problem. But October 29th.
Could we do just the 31st to make it a clean break?
Yeah, yep.
So.
And as long as that's on a weekday, that's just fine.
Okay.
I think 29th is a Friday. I already have 3 closings that day, so I'm Regency will know. So then on or before October 29th, and we normally close at 1 o'clock. That's flexible. You can close whenever you want to, but I like to do 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And since it's in town, the house that we're going through, I'll do a 12:15 final walkthrough, and that's what this form is I owe you that final walkthrough before closing. And we just do the final walkthrough to make sure there's no vandalism. They left all the appliances they're supposed to. There's no accidental holes in the sheetrock, big holes. And there's going to be things like, we want just a normal amount of nail holes. We expect them to do a vacuum, but not a actual steam clean unless we ask them to, or a shampooing. If they have pets and if you're allergic to pets, then I'll ask them. I'll write that on the other conditions, line 178 on the purchase agreement. Okay. But otherwise, we just get you that final walkthrough, and then you're happy before we close.
Okay.
This one, should you decide to have a home inspection, this is a list of home inspectors. You don't have to have one, but if you do, you can hire one of these if you want. Number 3 is my favorite one. So he's $315, and he's
do most people get a home inspection?
About half. Depends on if we're for negotiating skills or negotiating power. If we're competing on an offer, then sometimes the buyers don't want one. I'll always encourage one because I'd hate to be the bad guy if they didn't get one and found out something was wrong. So I'll always encourage one.
Okay.
That's it on that. So then the rest, I tried to leave some goodies for what's on the screen behind us here because you couldn't see the paperwork there. Sorry, but we'll figure that out for next time. Okay, so we're here to, this is just a fun little PowerPoint on how to buy a home.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Yeah? How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we need to sign all this then before we go look at houses, or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So we'll make sure it's a lot easier to ask for that when after you're done with all of it built enough.
Sure. So we'll go through it as a
Yep.
at the end and
Mhm.
do what we usually do.
Yep. So if it's someone that seems real high-minded, I mean, I always pitch. We're always looking for more realtors on the team. Why wouldn't we grow if it's a high-minded person? If not, if I couldn't see myself working with them, I'll just skip right by this one. But I mean, our mission statement, if it depends on how much time I have left in the buyer consult. If it's 10 minutes to 2 and we got a 2:15 showing, then if you and I have a 2:15 showing, then I won't read through it. But if we have plenty of time, and this helps build rapport and all that.
Sure.
A lot of times in the meeting, if I feel that the buyer is a little nervous or uneasy, just sit back in your chair and ask one of these things. FORD, family, occupation, recreation, or dreams. You can ask any of those. So ask them about family. What do you do for fun? How many are in your family? I don't usually ask, are you married? Because that's sometimes a tough subject. But just say how many are in your family, and that helps you figure out how many bedrooms they need too when you're setting them up on a auto email.
Okay.
But family, occupation, recreation, dreams. There's quite a few other go-to questions, like what do you do for fun?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the cook in your family? How did you two meet?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I mean, who doesn't want to talk about themselves? Where did you? Are you from Fargo, or where did you grow up?
Right.
So, where did you grow up?
Bismarck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know so and so, or are you a fan of the sports team? Does
the Bismarck State College basketball team. I don't even know what their logo or their whatever it is. Their mascot. I don't even know what their mascot is.
Yeah. Cool.
But I am a fan. Asking a lot of questions is a great way to build rapport and to build out the relationship as you're going through it. So you're going through all the paperwork, and I've talked to a lot of the agents on our team and said, this is important to go through it all and make sure that you do go through it all.